Hey, everybody. Is anybody out there? Elizabeth Varian here. I just literally to the minute finished the video for tomorrow for the follow-up for this video. So I hope we're going to kill some time as people are coming in, but hopefully I'm right on the nose, it looks like. So that's fantastic. I know that we have people in events, so let me make sure that those events know we're live now in the group and they can show up. And if you're already here, say hey, post a wow, let me know where you're at. I know it's 8 o'clock Eastern time here. I know that it is all sorts of time zones and different times everywhere. So if everyone can just start saying, hey, that will be great. So while I make sure everybody knows that we are alive, yay, it's alive. I want to make sure I get in the group so you can see I'm blinded by my own light. So I hope everyone is excited to learn about law of attraction, which is actually law of manifestation. Here we are. Here's the last one. And get that one done. Also want to say hello to YouTube folks because we're going to post this to YouTube once we're done. All righty. Hey, we have people there. Look, I bounced back and there's Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Carrie, it's about what, 5 o'clock your time there? Jamie is in the Philippines. Hey, Jamie. So what is it? It's morning time there. And Debbie, I need you. My hair, I'm looking good, but I'm getting some grays, so I don't want anyone to see it. So I got to come visit. Hi, Bob. Haven't seen Bob in years. Mwah. Kisses from you, my friend. Mr. Grandpa now, I should say. So I'm going to have the Facebook Live over there, have my notes over here. I thought it was going to take me just a couple hours. We'll kick this out this morning, and I ended up spending all day on it. Had to stop for 2 hours to actually get some work done. So crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, it's 9 a.m. in the Philippines, Jamie says. Hi, Jamie. Let's see. I want to make sure all my notes are here. Get this up and get them nice and big, because even with my glasses, we got to make sure I can read them all. So how's everybody doing? I'm so glad to see so many people show up. I was praying over this group because I was so excited for how many people just started showing up out of the blue with just a couple of posts. And then the responses that everyone had on believing for manifesting is wonderful. I have put this off for years. I didn't think I was ready to teach. I had a moment this year when all the way driving to a Course in Miracles meetup, someone, I guess just kept having this annoyance, the voice within saying that, it's time for you to start teaching. And I was like, maybe I'm not hearing that. And I know I ignore the intuition all the time, and I shouldn't. I'm going to work on that in 2018. But I ended up at the group, and the group leader ended up talking to me afterwards. He wanted help with website. And if you know me, I own a web design and internet marketing firm. So he ended up I was telling him, I'm like, I've been helping people with manifestation on Facebook groups and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I get the feeling that it's your time to start teaching. Okay, can't ignore that. So here we are now teaching law. We're calling it law of attraction because the internet marketing person in me knows that that's the most searched keyword, but it's actually law of manifestation. So, and you'll have to forgive me, it's a little warm here. So, yep, Carrie says 5 o'clock there. Bob's in Iowa, so that's 7 o'clock, so only an hour early there. Debbie is here with me at 8 o'clock in Florida. where it's so cold here at 80 degrees. Sorry, couldn't resist. So, alrighty, let's get started because I do have quite a bit to cover. And when we're done, I am going to open up for comments to start for asking questions. But I know that when we do these, they're not going to be 5-minute Facebook videos. So I want to be very diligent with our time and very cognizant. The first thing I want to do is give a notice. I will be doing these in videos for a short bit. After a while, you either understand it or you don't. But I realized when I was doing this, I was quoting the Bible quite a bit. And actually, I should tell you, I did this in my last video. You're going to hear ladies in the background. I'm still at my office, and the other person who I rent office space from has a Bible study going on. So we've got spirituality on that side of the wall and spirituality on this side of the wall. So they're going to get loud and crazy just like ladies do, and you're going to hear their giggling. So just ignore it and lift up praise that we're all in this collective consciousness together. So that's that piece of news. The notice I started to give, though, is when I started creating tonight's lesson, every time I came up with something, a new Bible verse came up. And yes, I am a Christian, but I don't believe that I am to go out and force everybody to my religion. And I can discuss religion on another time, but none of this is about religion. It's not about teaching any one specific religion or persuasion. These verses will pop into my head because they help with the teaching. In addition to that, if you are here and you are a Christian, you will also hear me, and I try and put the phonetic in there because it's Chinese, but I also am quoting quite a bit Lao Tzu, T-Z-U, pronounced Chu, C-H-U. It's also known as Tao, which is spelled T-A-O, those Chinese. So you'll hear me quoting in Taoism. I had studied in my 20s. And then also some philosophers that are modern day philosophers as well as philosophers of the past. And many of them you may put under the umbrella New Age. Now, let me quote the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing new age about it. What was once said is always and always will be. But if you have an issue with any reference or a person that I quote that doesn't align with your beliefs, just gloss over it. Set it aside, roll your eyes, do whatever it is you have to do, and then continue forward, listening with the lesson. When I do my Monday prayers, I always pray in Jesus' name, and I state for myself and the Christians. If you're Jewish or you're New Age or you're of Earth, because there's so many that are Earth-related spirituality, you just ignore it and continue. Praying is part of all of these beliefs, and the unity of this group is for our collective energy, not for religious fighting or battling. So all of that homework is set aside and all the house cleaning done. I don't know how much longer the ladies will be here, but that's fine. So let's get started and jump right in, shall we? Crack. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, said Lao Tzu. And that is very true. And I want to start with that one step. And how I got to that step is that there are 3 schools of thought when it comes to various types of self-help. There is change mind first, to change the belief, and actions will follow. Change mind, change beliefs, actions will follow. You'll find that in a lot of psychology, a lot of therapy type of sessions. They will work on changing your mind. You'll see that in a lot of motivational videos, which I actually listen to on a very regular basis, where they want you to get disciplined, change that mind, you can do it, and they're pounding. I need that pounding to wake me up in the morning. It is just as great as coffee. Well, until I get my coffee. But that's one school of thought. The other one is change behavior, change belief, change mind or thinking follows. And that's actually the Alcoholics Anonymous, their self-help program, is they tell you, forget what the mind is saying. Don't worry about the mind. They want you to change your belief or your behavior. So change your behavior in AA is you take it one day at a time. You show up, and today, right now, hi Tasha, one day right now is your behavior. I can only be accountable for this moment. And you go back into micro moments as far as you can go until you feel healthy to take that next step. And so AA is fantastic, and I am definitely a believer in the AA program. There is a third school of thought in self-help, which is change your beliefs, change your mind, actions follow. Again, change what you believe will change your mind, and actions will follow. And for me, all three of these systems work in some form or fashion when it comes to self-help. But for me, when it comes to law of manifestation, change belief first, your mind second to follow, and your actions will follow. That is the proper order. And that's how I'm going to move forward today, is we're talking about belief and believing. And then we're going to touch on your mind and your thoughts. And so reminding you once again, and we're going to focus on changing the beliefs, first deciding what you believe, changing your mind, and then the actions will follow. So what do I mean when I speak of belief or believing? Because it sounds like a term that you're going, I know what that means. Everybody knows what belief and believing. Oh, I believe in this. Well, how did you say that without using the word belief or believing? Oh, a little stuck here. So I'm going to define it for you. When I'm speaking of belief or believing, I'm speaking of a knowingness that it is true. I believe, therefore it is true. Okay? Faith is another word, that it will happen. I am speaking of knowingness that it is true, faith that it'll happen. So like when the Lord says, and again, I told you we'll quote Bible here, in Luke 17:6 in the New King James Version, he says, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, little tiny seed. I had a necklace with a mustard seed. It's this really tiny seed. If you have that much faith, you can say to this mulberry tree, other places it says mountain, be pulled up by the roots and be planted in the sea, and it will obey you. How powerful is that? That's belief. And belief and believing is also a feeling of being worthy, of receiving. You know you deserve this. So when I speak tonight of belief and believing, I'm talking about a knowingness of faith and that feeling of being worthy. And so we're going to talk about the root of it, of that belief is the root and the heart of the three laws of manifestation. And I will forever and ever and ever break down the three laws because in this world where people have watched The Secret, they've learned the term law of attraction. And I actually love the movie The Secret. A lot of people who have been doing manifesting forever are like, oh, that movie. But you know, Rhonda Barnes was taking a concept that is so huge and breaking it down to what, an hour and a half, 2-hour video. And actually, if you read one of Lisa Nichols' books, who's in the video, she actually didn't know what The Secret was, she says in the book. She just showed up and answered questions and realized, oh, that's what the secret is. So that was funny to hear, but it's a doorway open to the law of manifestation. But law of attraction is one of 3 laws in the law of manifestation. There's the law of creation, law of attraction, law of allowing. And in that, we do clearing and shifting and going back to creating, attracting, and allowing. And that's the order we flow in. First we create, then we attract, then we go back and recreate because we're like, nope, that's not what I meant. And then we allow, not always on the recreating. So understanding that there's 3 laws, you also have to understand at this moment in time, you're standing in all 3 laws at the exact same time. Right now, you are living the attraction of being at this video, the magnet to coming to this video. And you created it a day ago, a week ago, a year ago. Boy, I need to change this life. Hello, Elizabeth here, talking about manifestation, right? And you're also sitting here not thinking, hopefully, about everything in the world that you've had on your stress list, worry list, I need to do this list. I'm a taskmaster, so my task list. You're not thinking about it because you have to listen to my mouth going off here, right? And because I talk quite frequently and at a good rate, you have to tune in. So by tuning in, you have to tune out, which is part of allowing. So at this very given time, you are creating by listening and by showing up here something for future. You manifested this attraction, and you're in the process of allowing something else to go on because your mind can't be on 2 focuses at once. And even though I multitask like crazy, and Carrie, who is here, will attest to it, she says I drive her crazy and doesn't know how I can do it. I can't always do it, but for the most part, I like double tasking, and my brain just likes to do that when I'm amped up. But if I'm focused on something, if I'm reading, I can't have my TV on. If I really want to devour something, I can't focus on anything but one thing at a time. And the reason you've got to learn this is because you're going to start making some changes in your life. Again, whether you've done it before for millions of years, however old you are, or this is brand new, you're going to start learning how to speak a little different, joke a little different, things that you're going to get more concise and precise on. So back to believing that it is the root and the heart of all 3 of these things. You have to believe when you're creating. You have to believe when you're attracting. And you have to be in faith when you're allowing, to not allow the stressors in, right? And the reason it's the root and the heart of these 3 things is because nobody can see it in passing. No stranger can go up to Jamie and go, I know what you're manifesting. I know what you believe. You can assume what someone believes, but you have no clue. It is privately yours unless you speak it out to other people. And even then, people have spoken out one way by working the act as if strategy, but yet they're still working on a belief. Or you're believing for something and you haven't shifted an unaligned belief, a limiting belief. So the only way they can get it out of you is by you sharing it with them. So that believing is so personal. It is your connection with spirit, which I'll talk about that here momentarily tonight. And that connection with spirit, connection with God, it's biblical. So those of you who are Christians, I got the verses for you. But if you want to connect, anyone who follows Esther Hicks, I love Esther Hicks. She cracks me up. Or Abraham, I should say, cracks me up. But you know, that infinite pool, that infinite source, that believing is what connects you with that spirit. You can raise your energy vibration outside of spirit. You can do it with external things, but your belief is yours and yours alone. And that begins the relationship between you and your higher power. I love the Bible. It connects me at one point more so than others with God and my relationship with him. I've always said I have a relationship not a religion. But when you're in manifesting, you're connected. You get to hang out with this great being, and it's so amazing, and we got to get excited over it. So that's why it's the root and the heart of manifestation is believing. So only you know what you believe, and you have to decide your truth. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm living in my truth. But in this regard, your truth is what you decide you believe. It's going to be what drives your ship. We'll keep that analogy I had in another video earlier. Keep that in the steering wheel of the ship. Your truth is going to be what guides the ship. Do you go to this island or do you go to that island? It's all based on your beliefs. And I have to ask you, are your beliefs preciously working for you? Or are they misaligned with or creating obstacles for obtaining your desires? That's something that we got to work on, right? So you have to know what you believe first and foremost. Tomorrow night, I'll give you some techniques and strategies in that video on how to find out what you believe, how to decide, and how to make a stand firm decision to believe, to move forward. I got to show you, I'm wearing a necklace, but I don't think you can see it because I got way too much hair here, that I wear. And actually in Joyful Living store, this isn't a pitch for the store because you can't buy it yet, but let me see if I can get it up there. So it's a bottle, and in that bottle, whoops, over, it's always the opposite of what I think. In that bottle is a blue crystal heart. And the reason that I like this, and the reason I have the Joyful Living store, is I like symbols and I like remembrance. And this remembrance to me is that it's a symbol reminding me that what is precious is bottled from strangers to see, but it's mine to uncork and release to create. Let me say that again, that this heart, this precious little heart, my belief, my connection with spirit is bottled so that nobody else can see it unless I choose to let them see it. But yet when I uncork my belief and I release it and I work with God and universe to create, it will create and manifest for me. And like I said, it's not available in the store right now, but it will be later this week. I'll post it. But that's why I wanted to wear it tonight, is because I need that remembrance sometimes. Now, Tasha, I see, is here, so she'll love this person because we share a kindred spirit with the person that she trains from, which is Wallace. Yay, high five for Wallace. He says, all belief begins in the will to believe. Let me say that again. All belief begins in the will to believe. So I ask you, are you willing to believe in the laws of manifestation? Are you willing to believe and step out in faith in the law of creation, the law of attraction, and the law of allowing? To step out and do whatever clearing work needs to be done, or find shifts to be done so that you connect with that which you're creating in 2018. Are you willing? And why would you want to be willing? Let me give you some answers. Without solid, now listen to this, without solid, unshakable belief in something. Now, funny enough, when I'm typing that out, solid, unshakable, you got to believe in something is what my mind said. Then the country song came in, you got to believe in something or you'll fall for anything. It's very true. You have to believe in something one way or the other. But you need to have solid, unshakable beliefs. Without it, number one, your thinking will work against you. Your mind is not actually set up to be your best friend. In the Course in Miracles, it teaches about the ego and that its only job is self-preservation. And it's actually not a fun analogy to share, but it's a very true one. Psychologists will tell you if there's a car accident and it's a head-on collision, the body, without thinking, the mind will always turn the car away from the driver. And so I don't ever want to be in the rider's seat in a head-on collision. And again, it's not something to be funny or laughing about, but it is solid, substantial evidence of how our mind works. It's for self-preservation. So if our mind is for self-preservation, but yet we're believing for more money, for better relationships, for love to show up in our life, for health. I don't see Edward here, but we're all believing for health for Edward. He is using happiness and energy vibration to cure himself of cancer. He's cured himself before, self-healing, and I can't remember what it was he had before, but he used it before, he's doing it again. But what does the mind do? No, don't do that. The mind is going to get uncomfortable fast when you start moving from where you are to where you really want to go. So getting out of your comfort zone, which you kind of have to do sometimes to increase in life, no matter whether it's business, success, relationships, you got to get a date. So you got to, talk to the person you're in a relationship, open up communication, right? So the mind goes, that's okay. Things are fine the way they are. You've got to focus on something more, take a risk, and get out of the comfort zone. Well, that goes against everything that the mind is about. Your mind does not want out of that comfort zone. Your mind likes it in the comfort zone. You watch all these fashion shows, or rather I do, because I have a fashion fetish. You hear all the times, but they're comfortable, okay? But you look sloppy, but they're comfortable. These shoes are comfortable. What is it with us with comfortable? You wear heels, you stand up straight, your posture gets better. Just saying. So your mind is going to be the first thing that's going to battle you. And the reason is because it doesn't want to get out of that comfort zone. In our group teachings, I'm going to teach you how to get the mind from being the driver of your life, creating consistent, constant repetition. Have you ever noticed you're always going around the same trip? You end up, even if you move from one state to another, you end up hanging out with very similar type people. If you don't work on, the mind, that's because if it's the driver of your life, it's recreating what it knows. It loves knowing what the results are going to be. But your mind will lie to you, as it says in the Course in Miracles, and whisper to you that it really knows what's going on. But then when something doesn't happen, it backpedals and starts beating you down. Your mind will tell you, well, you're not good enough. You didn't do it right. Oh, you're not worthy of it. All of that garbage is your mind. And you need to kick it to the curb, not out of your being, because it's part of you. Instead, you need to make your mind the vehicle that you drive. Many times you can make, that you drive, many times you can make it stop, you can make it change and shift its thinking. You can control your mind. You absolutely can. And if you are here as a Christian, the Bible is all over getting control of that mind. In Philippians, it tells you all those things to think on these things. So you want to get control of the mind. So that's the first thing. If you do not get solid in your belief, your mind will be the first enemy. Without believing in the laws of manifestation that they exist, this group simply won't work. No tactics I give you, no strategies I give you, no this always works, will work for you. As Henry Ford, our lovely Ford Motors company said, whether you think you can, whether you think you cannot, you're right. You've got to decide if it's going to work for you or not. It won't. Your mind won't fall in line to do what is necessary. You won't be visualizing. You won't be meditating. You won't be feeling as if it's done. Your speech and your words won't be in alignment with your belief basically won't do the work to make it happen. It'll do everything in its power to get you back on status quo for the reason of, number one, the mind likes to be comfortable. And you need to get uncomfortable in a positive way, not in a negative way, in a positive way. You have to determine to stand up and stand on your ground that you are going to believe in the laws of manifestation. The third reason that if you don't change your beliefs, it's not going to work for you. Your mind's going to be the enemy, but also you're going to miss the blessing. We want the blessing. Isn't that why we're in this? We want the blessing. So in John 20:24 through 29, everyone, whether you're Christian or not, you've probably heard of Doubting Thomas. I like it because my dad and my brother's name are Thomas, so I can make fun of them. So Doubting Thomas, Jesus had died, just a quick story, went up to heaven, came on back down and started hanging 10 with his disciples. Yes, I rewrite the Bible to a surfer language. And Thomas didn't believe any of the reports. He's like, no, I have to see it. I have to put my hands in the side where the sword had pierced his side, and actually it wasn't his hands. I don't know why everybody thinks it's hands. It's actually the wrists. And before I will believe. And what did Jesus say to him? Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. But blessed are those who have not seen yet believe. So there is a blessing in believing and making that decision. And yet tomorrow night, as I stated, I'm going to have techniques and strategies to help you believe. And Thursday, we'll have some takeaway, take-see action work, no longer called homework, which includes some videos and audiobooks to help you get your mind on board. In addition to that, I do have a couple of help you to have proof for those who are beginners to see is believe. So even though I say there's a blessing for those who believe without seeing, you have to do that in manifestation anyways. You have to believe for something before it shows up. It doesn't show up and then you get to believe in it. It's just not how it works. It would be lovely, but it isn't. Also, last week, I think I already mentioned, I did the Seeing Magic Everywhere. And find it in our video section. This video will be added to our YouTube channel. So those on YouTube, check the playlist and find the video for the playlist Take and See Action Work. And there's homework assignment or action assignment on seeing the magic everywhere. And tomorrow night's video, I'm actually going to tell you about my Seeing the Magic Everywhere and how it worked. The final reason as to why you need to believe is because without feeling worthy, your mind will continue to bring up thoughts of past experiences. Isn't that how we always come up with, oh, that never works for me? Well, never works, first of all, is extreme. And second of all, that's your past. We don't live in the past. The past needs to stay back behind us. We can visit it for happy memories, or we can visit it for aha moments that we get in the present that are connected to the past. But our past is not proof of what is right and wrong. Our past is just simply our experiences and our interpretations of what was happening at that moment. If you've ever visited back to a time where you had an argument with someone and you're like, oh man, I was really wrong there. Now, I don't say the W word that often, so relish it right now. But if you go back and you look at it, oh, that's what that meant. Your perception has changed. Well, your perception and reality aren't necessarily the truth. You know, his side, her side, the truth is your perception, what really happened, and, you know, the truth is somewhere in between, or what you think happened. So your past experiences are going to continue to prove you right if you don't feel worthy. And therefore, it's going to continue in the cycle of never being worthy of whatever you're trying to become, to get, to do, or to experience. Well, you're not going to become the better part of you or the new you that you choose to be, you're not going to get the items that you're wanting, the house, the car, the new job, the new clients, the new sales. You're not going to do whatever trips, tasks, events that you want, and you're not going to ever experience the joys of laws of manifestation if you're not feeling worthy. Because even if you get placed in the middle of the most amazing experience, your lack of belief in that you're worthy, you're not going to enjoy it. So we really need to make sure that we believe. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, one moment, my light is blinking. I have a light that tells me when to drink water. Talk amongst yourselves. So Dr. Norman Vincent Peale is one of my favorites. First of all, I love listening to him because he has a very unique voice, and I like unique voices, so I'll listen even more. But he said, when you wholeheartedly adopt a with all your heart attitude and go all out with the positive principle, you can do incredible things. Again, when you wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly, wholeheartedly adopt a with all of your heart attitude and go all out with positive principles, you can do incredible things. And that's kind of where I put my foot down about 5 months ago. I said, you know what? I have been saying that I wanted $60,000 a month income. That's high for some, low for others. Judgment free, right? So $60,000 a month. I've been saying it. Farthest I have gotten is, a third of that. And I haven't been putting my foot down. I haven't been giving it all my heart attitude, and I haven't been going all out to make it happen. But I made that determination saying, dang it, I'm going to make this happen. I'm tired of saying it. I'm going to actually do it now. How is none of my business at this moment, even though Tasha's got ideas coming at me. So we'll see how that works. So actually, she's not the only one. I've got a couple other people have ideas for me too. So I opened up the wholehearted attitude, and now ideas are flowing in. So you have to decide. Basically, not a flippant decision. You have to go all in with your heart. You have to say, I am putting my foot down. I am standing firm on my ground to decide. The answer is now. So I'm going to ask you, will you continue to believe when your thoughts try to say otherwise? Or are you going to make a decision today that I believe that the law of manifestation is going to work for me? I believe that God wants me to have the desires of my heart. Scripture says that universe, that infinite source is working together for my good. If you do, then when the thoughts come about, when some experience show up or events start showing up to test that belief, or people around you start telling you you're nuts, your decision today is going to put a wall up. You're going to be able to go, nope, I've decided. But you have to be all in. You really do. And still to this day, I have people around me that will kind of like persuade me this way or persuade me that way. And I have to go, no, this is my decision. So the reason I start with belief and then the mind, which we're going to touch on, and we're not going to go too deep in, I'm keeping to my time schedule. But the reason I start with belief and mind before jumping in and writing intentions is because if you ask, but you do not believe, you have not decided from mind to heart, you're wasting your time. You're going to fail right out of the gate. It just doesn't happen. And this was actually when I realized what I was going to teach on tonight. The very first Bible verse that came to me was from James. And it's James chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. And it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, You should ask God, who gives generously. Now listen to this. Even the non-Christians, you listen to this. I bolded this so I made sure I didn't miss it. To all without finding fault. He didn't just say to all who believe in Jesus. He didn't say to all who believe in God. He says, if you lack wisdom, you should ask God, universe, higher power, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. What? How crazy is that? But when you ask, hello, it goes on to say, you must believe and not doubt. Why? Because the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. So you don't get any more clear than that. And that's the NIV version that I read from. You have to believe without doubt. So believing and decisions, they're made in the mind and in the heart. We're going to touch on the heart a little bit, but you have to make that decision with the very thing that I said, if you don't make the decision, it's going to be your enemy, right? So if you are going to make that decision, first the heart. Okay, what is the heart? Okay, it's this vessel right here in the middle, probably down a little bit more. This vessel, people thought, oh, it just pumps blood through it. There's actually a lot of more science that's connected to why the heart is part of decision making, which I'm not going to go into tonight. I love science. But in the heart, when the Bible is talking, they rarely talk about what your actions are. They talk about the heart. What is your heart? What is your motives? What are your intentions? And, they talk about the whitewashed tombs. You can look great on the outside, all whitewashed, but you're dead on the inside without belief. So your heart is where your intentions lie, your ultimate motive. It's basically rooted meaning we give to any person, place, circumstance, or object. And there's a lot more to it, but that's the foundation. So when you're making a decision, you have to have your rooted belief. So like Norman Vincent Peale said, get it that all with, attitude. It's got to come from with the depths of your heart, that your intention is truly to believe, not to try it out, not to test it, not to go, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No, ultimate motive, make this decision. And then we're talking about believing in the heart. What else did I say? It's also the mind. Now, the mind, the topic of the mind and manifestation is way too large to stay in this 1 hour time frame. So I'm just going to tiptoe on thoughts, okay? But before I do, we have to know and understand that we are mind, soul, and body, or soul and mind. We are body. I can never say this when I want to. We are body, soul, and mind, and spirit beings. Blah, blah, blah. We are body, physical body, our soul, and our mind, and our spirit beings. You hear body, soul, spirit. You hear body, mind, spirit. That's because soul and mind are interchanged. Now, all three together, and I know there's some people that have misunderstandings about these terms, but there's no heavy meaning to them in the regards that, let me just say it, Satan's not in these words. But all three of these things together, the body, the soul and the mind, and the spirit, in the Chinese is known as the qi. Or in yoga, Hindu, India terms, it's known as prana, P-R-A-N-A, prana. And what the qi means and prana, it means life force or life energy. We're energy. Shocking, right? We've got atoms. Science has proven that we're energy. Most religious and spiritual systems agree with the breakdown of the roles of each. And in this life force or this life energy, our body is the physical or visual manifestation of your life force. Otherwise, I wouldn't know you guys were here on Facebook. This computer is a manifestation. It's the body of a computerized system. My body, I'm a physical being because you can see my body. You can't see my soul and mind, and you cannot see my spirit. So this is your physical manifestation of your life force. Your soul or your mind is basically your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and your will. The Bible says you have free will. God has given it to you freely. A lot of actual spiritual systems say we have free will. There are some that say that all laws and orders are set in place and blah, blah, blah. But for most part, everyone believes in free will. Well, that will is part of your soul and your mind. That's one. And last, of course, but not least, is your spirit. And your spirit is your connection to your infinite source. God, universe, realm of infinite possibilities, whatever you want to call it. But your spirit is what connects you to God. And these are all three energy sources. In Hebrews, again, I said a lot of Bible verses tonight. Hebrews 4:12 in the New King James Version, it says, "For the word of God is living and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword." Most of us know that part of the verse, but did you know this part? "Piercing even to the division of soul and spirit and joints and marrow." Soul and mind and spirit divided, and divided also of joints and marrow, which is body. And is a discerner, listen, discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Can't get clearer than that, right? So we are body, soul, and mind, and spiritual beings. And because of this energy, we are creative beings. And James Redfield, a lot of people don't realize he's the one that gets the quote for this. He says, "Where attention goes, energy flows. Where intention goes, energy also flows." So where you put your focus, or where you have your heart's intentions, that's where energy is flowing to. And a lot of times, the very basics of this, it comes down to thought. And again, I'm going to just barely touch on this because I have some homework that's going to go even deeper with you. Take action work. So you've got to get that understanding that everything is energy. Anyone who's been doing this for a while, they've heard the story. The table is energy. My hand is energy. This mic is energy. Every space in between is energy. We know in science there's molecules that breaks down to atoms and then actually breaks down even further. The Bible also focuses on, how to do manifestation. And with knowing what it said in Hebrews, that the thoughts and intents of the heart, you also know that when you are thinking, contemplating, whatever you're focusing on, whatever you're questioning, is what's going to show up in your life. That's manifestation. It's always on. Like I said earlier, we are living all three laws right here, right now. So whatever you're thinking about right now or before, whatever you're focusing on now or before, whatever you are contemplating, which is deep thought, or questioning intently, that's what's going to show up in your life. And the reason is, and it says it in two different places. And, I tried to look it up because Matthew, though it's questionable about who the real author is, I've seen a lot of people prove that it was Matthew. I don't know if it really was or not, but I do know that Dr. Luke wrote Luke and Acts, but Matthew 7 through 8, and Luke 11, 9 through 10, they both say the same thing. And what I really love is that it repeats it. And they both say another important part that I love as well. So what do they say? They say, "So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open." My favorite part, "For everyone who asks receives. And he who seeks finds. To him who knocks, it will be open. It does not say only those who are following this religion, only those that believe in me, only those that believe in God, only those that believe in this. It does not have any limitations on it, because it says for everyone who asks. So asking, seeking, and knocking is no different than thinking about, focusing on, contemplating, and questioning intently. That's the key for opening the door of two of the laws in manifestation, law of creation and law of attraction. And they all start where? In the mind. Your thoughts are powerful. Our buddy Lao Tzu, I'm getting better at saying his name. Wayne Dyer was much better at it. Plus, I always liked listening to him speak anyways. He had that nice, sexy voice. But anyways, he says, when you, Lao Tzu, not Wayne Dyer, when he says, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. How powerful is that? Once you shift your mind to believing that there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And thoughts being energy, material things being energy, people, I've mentioned collective conscious energy. We are all energy connected collectively. We are made up of energy, so on and so forth. Then that means with the law of manifestation, once we make our mind set and focus that A exists, for those of us who have been part of it, that we're standing fast, that our intentions are going to come true, we're worthy of receiving them, that we're calling in people, we're calling in events, we're opening up doors of opportunities. As that happens, it belongs to us. It just is. It does. And for the advanced person, just become a reminder to be aware. And I don't know who's still on and who isn't, but if Tasha's still here, you're in my speech, little girl. I shouldn't call you that because I think we're the same age. Anyway, so I always feel older than everybody. Anyway, so a reminder to be aware. So my friend Tasha, just today while I was still working on this, she posted on my Facebook post on a picture that I had taken of myself, where I know how to angle myself and make myself look like a thinny mini. And she posted, hey, you could do a course on weight loss and manifesting. Well, my initial reaction was to post a joke. I'm like, or on how to photograph yourself thinner. What I've learned, though, is in my upbringing, we had a game that we played where you one-upped each other, putting other people down or yourself down. And my mom stopped it when she realized it was being taken personal. It was meant as a fun thing, but it made me quick in my mind, quick on the draw. So if someone says a joke, I'll be able to grab a comeback quite quickly. And it was because of that upbringing. But the problem is even in my jest, it's not positive returned energy. And I actually, after I thought about it, I'm like, ooh, I even posted, I should knock that off even in joking. And she's like, no, I was serious. I'm like, no, I was talking to myself out loud. I need to stop and jest. And why is that? In 2009, I lost 33 pounds. I went from 156 pounds to 123 pounds. And I was continually keeping it off. And then, and actually Bob and I saw someone else is from my high school was here. But, you know, we had a class reunion for our 20-year reunion. And even though I'm a size 6 at this time, 123 pounds, enjoying my designer clothes, as a joke, I said, well, I wish I was pregnant to explain why I'm fat. I wasn't fat. I was quite the opposite of fat. I wasn't stressed out either. The recession started in 2008. I didn't start feeling the major pressures of it until 2010. So I can't even blame the story on the recession. But after saying that joke a couple times, I couldn't stop eating. not only could I not stop eating, I couldn't stop eating ice cream, all my carbs, my sugar. I couldn't get my butt to the gym. I stopped walking on my treadmill. I stopped doing every single thing that I needed to do to keep my weight off. And I would look at the scale, still stepping on it, and go, oh, I've already taken 33 pounds off. What's 5 pounds? Oh, what's 10 pounds? I'm okay with it. Because every 5 pound increment you're okay with, because you're not realizing the whole manifestation of the fact that I was now, a year ago, I was 186 pounds. And I actually stopped when I was still gaining and said, what the heck? Why on earth am I gaining all this weight back? And I prayed on it, and brought to my recollection was that joke about being fat. And I'm like, oh man, I need to clear that and shift it out. And starting last year, I'm down 30 pounds already. I'm now back to my 155 pounds now. So I still have those 33 to lose, but I now have to go back and do it all over again because of my mouth. So even in joking, you want to be careful. There's energy in the words. There's energy in the thoughts. And Wattles, once again, my favorite, he says, a thought is substance, producing the thing that is imagined by the thought. So as we go forward, we're going to continue to learn about thoughts and their energy and how they create. But tonight I want you to focus on believing and getting solid in the belief of manifestation, law of creation, law of attraction, and allowing. I want you to know that no matter what your religion is, this stuff's in there and it's okay. I want you to know that if your mind shows up and starts telling you, don't do it, you now know why. Actually, I connected with Tasha, reconnected at a manifesting board party. And a friend of mine showed up that I had met in a manifesting group. And I had invited her. Unbeknownst to me, I invited her 3 times. So apparently she needed to be there because I didn't remember inviting her 3 times. And she had the toughest time getting there. She had the darndest time. Traffic, getting out the door, every little thing. And she was like, I'm getting here because obviously I'm supposed to be here. And I had left early, but her comments afterwards, she definitely got rewards from being there. So get in that steadfast belief. And I know we got a few minutes left. If you're still here and hanging out, I saw a whole bunch of reactions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? And please know I'm going to post this video on YouTube, and we're going to save it to our, there I am. We're going to save it to our video section so you can always come back to it. It is an hour long. Did you get anything from it? Does it make sense to you? Did you get any aha moments tonight? Anyone still there? Give you a couple minutes just to see. Hopefully it's still working and still running. While I'm waiting and just giving a couple minutes, if you have any friends that you think would like to learn about the manifestation laws, I see Carrie still hanging out. If you know somebody, invite them to the group. We want to build this up because I really am going after that collective energy for all of our own individual manifestation intentions of, manifesting our intentions. Please know you don't have to share every specific detail if they're very personal. You can share general in Facebook, but make sure you write your intentions in very specific ways. I want it to be a group where we cheer each other on. I like hearing that, Carrie is really good, and so is May Jane and Jamie at letting me know, hey, I learned this or I learned that. We all need that little nudge. If you have any questions at any time, you can post them in the group. One of us are watching, and they'll always ding me to go answer if need be. But if nobody has any questions tonight, then I think we're going to wrap it up. We're right at the 1 hour mark. Boy, I can talk, can't I? Yay, that's one of my gifts. So if you have any questions afterwards, if you're on YouTube, post them in the comments and I will get notice. If you have them after this Facebook page, just create, or in the manifestation group, just create a post in the group and tag me in it, or tag the Live Joy Today page in it, and I will make sure to come and answer your questions. Tomorrow's video will be strategies and techniques to cover how to believe, and homework, which is now called Take C Action work, will be posted on Thursday. I'm just going to record those videos so you can watch them whenever you choose. Thank you very, 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 very much for hanging out with me. I am so privileged. I am so honored. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.